quick video showing you how to fit a trend line to just one section of your graph. I've got a position versus time graph of my lander device, and it looks like it's sped up in the beginning, especially if I think of velocity as the slope of this position graph. I can tell that the velocity was 0 in the beginning because there's a little these 2 points look like they have a slope of 0, but then it gets steeper and steeper and steeper as it curves upwards until like this section of the graph from here to here, which looks like maybe from 57 seconds to 58.5 or something like that. This looks like a straight line pattern. So I'd like to fit a line to this straight line pattern to use it to figure out my velocity. But if I try to put in a trend line by clicking this triangle, going to Advanced Edit, scrolling all the way down and adding a linear trend line, if I look at that trend line, it doesn't actually approximate this pattern that I'm interested in. It's trying to fit a straight line to all the points together, but that's not actually what I want. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go back to the triangle, scroll down, change the trend line to none, and update. I'm going to take off that trend line, and I'm going to make a new graph that is only the constant velocity points. Here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to click down here where it says Sheet 1. It's got a little triangle next to it. And I'm going to hit Duplicate. And you notice it makes a copy of this sheet. Everything I've done on this Google graph, it has made a copy of it in kind of like a new tab within this document. It's still the same document, but it's got a new tab in it. I'm going to change the name of this to only CV points. And I'm going to modify this graph so it only shows the points that I think represent a constant velocity. So this place at the end where it's stopped, I'm going to select these and delete them. And notice they disappear from this graph. I still have them on this graph over here. This graph is still going to be important for my entire trip, but I can take those points off so that I can fit a line to just the constant velocity points. Then I'm going to do the same thing to, I don't know, I need to make a decision here where I think it looks like it starts moving at a constant speed. I'm going to say maybe 57.5 or so. What happens if I get rid of all these points? Great. This now looks like a straight line, and I can fit a straight line to that. Notice I'm still graphing these same points. These points haven't changed, the numbers haven't changed, but the graph looks different because I'm only looking at the constant velocity parts. So I'm actually going to change the title of this to for CV points, that is for constant velocity points, so I can tell the difference between this graph and this graph. And the last step, this is really, really important, I'm going to go back to Advanced Edit. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm going to add that trend line. And then, don't forget to do this part. I need to actually say use equation where it says label. Instead of doing a custom label, I'm going to say use equation because this tells me, this number right here, 7.52, tells me my screen velocity. It tells me in centimeters per second how fast this thing is moving. The y-intercept here is not actually something that we care about because the clock reading value of 0 isn't something that gives us any meaning. But this value is going to be the slope that we use to analyze the speed of the graph, or the speed of the device when it was moving at a constant speed. So this is the number in units of centimeters per second that we will then convert to real meters per second. If I want to, I can actually write down this number, and then I could say, I could change this back to custom, and I could change this to say like slope equals 7.5 centimeters per second, and update that. This will make it really easy for me to look back later and understand what this line actually means.